Evening, everybody. It's 5:56 on Tuesday evening, February the 8th, and this is your closing comment for that Tuesday evening, and it's video number 1142. And I remind you, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell because we are putting out more information and I wouldn't want you to miss it. Okay, so the Dow closed up 371.65, or a little over 1%. Unfortunately, 114 of those points was AMGN all by itself. Up until about 3 o'clock, there were actually only 16 up and 14 down, although at the close it looked more like 22-8. So it did improve a bit. Advanced declines were 3-2 on the NYSE. As far as the NASDAQ, that was the second biggest mover, up 178.79, 1.25%, and advanced declines there were 1.7 to 1. Volume was a little on the left side again at 4.2 billion. S&P up 37.8%. The big winner on the day, again, was the Russell, up 32.77, or 1.63. And the Dow Jones Transports was up 1.1% at 167.83. So, as I mentioned, Amgen beat top and bottom line and finished the day at 241.01, up 17.48, or 7.8%. It was not up nearly that much this morning after the numbers, but it just took on a life of its own. And I guess that's partially because there have been so many companies that have missed and been questionable, that something as solid as their numbers was a big positive. Peloton reported early. They reported this morning. Originally, they were supposed to report after the close. A miss, laying off 2,800 employees. The stock was basically unchanged to slightly lower. It had been into the low 28s, but by the open it was basically unchanged, and the announcement came out that the CEO was stepping down. How do you like this? You're the CEO, you're one of the founders of the company, and the stock has gone from 179 down to the low 20s. You leave, and the stock closes 37 and a quarter on the day, up $7.52, or 25%. The new CEO is the ex-CFO from Spotify. He was also the CFO from, I believe, Netflix. So this kind of squelches the idea that the company is going to be sold. I don't think you bring in this high-powered guy as just a seat warmer to unload the company. We had a couple of people in the Discord room who followed in with a bull spread yesterday at about $1.01, long the March 35 calls, short the March 40 calls, again for $1.01 debit. And with the stock at 37, it's 2.5 in the money. So that spread worked out really well. LYFT had a beat top and bottom line, but ridership was slightly lower. The stock had closed 41.20, up 210. On the headline of the beat, it ran up to 43.24, and then on the ridership numbers collapsed back down to 38.95, down 43 cents, but that's also 265 lower than where it was at the close. Also, CMG Chipotle, 1577, up 116.65. beat top and bottom line. Metrics look good. They've been passing along price increases, so their margins haven't gotten hurt. The stock was up 8%. And MNDT. This is a cybersecurity company that was a SPAC, and I believe they took in maybe FireEye, also cybersecurity, and they announced that Microsoft was doing some sort of a deal with them. Last I saw, the stock was 1775, up 269 or 18% on the news. Tomorrow we have wholesale inventories and mortgage apps. Just so that you know, I closed out the positions today in both the gold and the silver. And I will show you why, and I'll give you my thinking on it. First of all, the gold has had these kind of runs right up into resistance and collapsed back down. The reason that I'm so sensitive about this right now is because the CPI numbers come this week, and I think that the gold being up puts it in kind of a tough position. If the numbers come out really big and show lots more inflation than the last numbers, and I think the last number was 7.1, if the numbers come out big, then the Fed may be forced to do something faster and bigger, and that traditionally hurts the precious metals. Unfortunately, I closed them out today because I thought CPI came tomorrow. It doesn't. It comes on Thursday. The silver I took off for a slightly different reason, although it too is into some resistance. But more importantly, the resistance is a little higher, actually. The high today was 23.26 and a half. 23.50 would have been, the area I was concerned about. The difference is that we were trading a leveraged ETF, and leveraged ETFs have a bias to the downside. I refer to it as leakage. I'm not going to go into it now, but if you want to direct message me or email me, I'll be happy to explain. But I did that for the same reason. We've come from 22 to 23 and a quarter in basically 2.5 days. We have this CPI number. My thought is exactly the same. And yes, I did get out a day early, but I can live with that. In point of fact, the large account, the stock and option account, is up about 5.5% right now, but the option only account, which had an abysmal year to date right now, is up a little over 13%, and we have 12 out of 15 positive trades, which is really quite a good record. I also told you on Sunday night and on Monday morning that I felt like the oil was going to be down. We were down $2 today. But since Sunday night, we've gone from a high on Friday of 93.17 to close today 89.36. Today's action was down about a little over 2%, but we're down about 4.5%. If you recall, I drew a line here on the chart of all of these tops that, when we get into this kind of an area, we end up outside the Bollinger Band, which I also showed you over the weekend. And on the basis of that, I still think we have a ways to go. I'm not sure that we're going to have to break below this 86, but 93 to 86 is really something. Last time we got short. It was back here in the 85 area, and we got down to a low of 62 and change, and we had been also at the top of the Bollinger Bands. I think at that time I was using a weekly chart. So as you can see, we spent 4 weeks just outside that and then corrected from 85 to 62. This is only the first week actually outside, but it doesn't have to look like that. It doesn't have to be there for 4 weeks. I mean, I think that we're probably coming back into the 84, 85 area. Um, Bitcoin was up 105. Neither here nor there, closed 44,340 after being as high as 45,600. The dollar was up about a quarter. Bonds were down about 3/4. The 10-year was in the neighborhood of 196 and a half. So that's getting a little on the expensive side. And I just want to point out a couple of little ones here. Uh, Coffee up $7.30, a clear breakout. Lumber limit up third day in a row, 11.59. So um, inflation numbers are really going to be a tough thing to deal with on Thursday morning, especially since they come out at 8:30 and we can't really do anything about it, especially in the options for an hour, which means price discovery is not necessarily valid for us. So I didn't want to take the chance. Have a good evening. I'll be back